Hi and welcome to the cave. Going to finally put to bed once and for all something I get asked quite a lot. I actually say probably about 1 in 5 or 6 inquiries I get with flies is regards lure fishing with flies. Can you do it? Simple answer is yes. So what I'm going to do here is show you a few things you can do with flies to actually use them on lure gear, whether it be bait casting gear or fixed pull stuff. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is talk about flies by themselves. You can use a fly straight off the shelf, and if you're fishing on canals and stuff like that, fabulous method. You can fish that with just like a normal spinning outfit, bait casting outfit, and the flies will cast fine. So what we're going to do, we're going to look at a few flies. This is pretty much a small perch imitation. That weighs about 3.8 grams by itself. So very castable. You can cast 3.8 grams. When that actually gets wet, you're probably looking at about 6 or 7 grams on that. And that's on a kind of a fairly fine wire hook. So absolutely, it's not going to be great for casting huge distances on big locks or lakes or gravel pits, but it's good if you're fishing close in, fishing up to features, canal work especially. These do very, very well. And the natural movement as well of a fly, you just can't replicate that with a lure. And I do lure fish sometimes. It's one of my guilty pleasures. I like collecting lures and crankbaits and stuff. But the movement you get from these just with a small flick of the rod is unbelievable. So, as I said, that when wet, it depends on the material, but when wet, I mean, that dry is the same. It's it's probably about 3.4, 3.5 grams. But because of the material, it's slightly denser, although still being synthetic. It's a slightly denser material, so that will hold a little bit more weight. So you're probably, when that gets wet, you're probably going to go up to about maybe 10, 11 grams on that. Again, a good weight for casting. When you get down to stuff like EP fibre, EP fibre is great for the fly fisherman. Oh, really? My battery's about to run out. Really? So EP flies, the fibre obviously on an EP fly is a lot lighter. That enables us to use a very, very, very large fly, but with little weight. Again, this weighs about 3.4 grams when dry. So even when wet, because it's only going to add a gram or so to it, because when you cast this on a back cast on a fly, the water tends to shed off it, being synthetic. So with flies like this, and even if I can just show you, the old Robert the Roach, the old famous Robert the Roach. Again, that one, when it's dry, is about 3.4, 3.6 grams. Very castable when wet still. If you're using like close-up work, fishing to features and stuff, you can use it no problem. Wet again, that probably would come in about, I think it's about 7 or 8 grams when that's wet. I may be wrong. So then we're going to address, with these flies that are, very, very light. If you want to attach weight to them, very, very easy to do. And this is the whole thing of, can you use flies on lure rods? And indeed you can. So the first thing I'm going to show you is these are Dragon jig weights. Very, very easy to use. They just clip on like so. And obviously that one's actually upside down because I'm crap. So you have to go whichever way it is. So I mean, I'm terrible. This is actually going to bring you to another point. I'm going to point out in a minute. So there you go. So that's a dragon jig weight. So obviously you can use that as heavy as you want, and plenty of movement. Fabulous. So obviously with flies, if you're going to be fishing these, most of the time you're going to be fishing those off the bottom, you know, and you don't want your fly upside down. Although if you jerk it up, it'll look like a dying fish. But most of the time you want your fly, you know, to be looking like a proper fish. So what do we do there if we want something like that? Well, you could use, you know, like a streamer, like a Robert the Roach. Nice streamer pattern with an eye. So if you clip that on, it doesn't matter which way you fish it, it's going to look like upside down, or even that way if you want to go that way. Perfect. So that just clips on. You can fish that any way you like. So another one I'm going to show you now is there's a thing called a Jika rig, which is quite cool actually. Another one I quite like. So this is a Jika rig. It has a swivel there, and what I have is I have a fast tack weight just there. Sorry, a fast tack link and a small bomb put there. These are great. The advantage of these, you can fish these obviously, the fish don't bother, that's quite close, but the fish aren't going to notice that. The advantage of these is you can change that weight to anything you like, you know, absolutely anything. And indeed, even fly fishing, you know, you could actually just, if you're fly fishing with your flies as well, just take that off. If you need a little bit of extra weight, you can actually pinch a split shot on there. But that's a great one for the lure angler. And again, you know, with the Jika rigs, they are quite fiddly, you know, with that split ring and stuff. But if you have a few favourite patterns, you know, you could pre-rig. You can actually have these just pre-rigged in your lure box and just attach whatever weight you want. You know, if you want to fish really close in with no weight, just take it off. Or if you want to fish at distance or very deep water, you know, just put a different weight on there. The small RLC bombs work brilliant there. Okay, another one that works really well is these fast tack. They're called mustard worm weights. You can see that, and they will just clip to your fly, just through the eye. Quite easy. That's quite a good one. Another one I use, again on the same lines as, it's kind of, I suppose it's kind of like a cross between a Jika and a jig head rig. What I do is I get a fast tack and I put a big shot on there and clamp it up. You can super glue it as well. Just super glue in there before you clamp it shut, just give you a little bit extra security on your weight. And again, plenty of movement. Again, you can make a few of these up in different weights and just have them in your box, and that works great on a streamer. Perfect. Okay, so the next one, if you go online, if you have streamers like those that don't have eyes, you can actually add a fish head Jika. Let me get my pliers, you might be able to see that a little bit better. Yep. Okay. So that's a little fish head Jika weight. Sorry, fish head Jika weight. So that's just a little fish head, and you can get them on eBay. Just do a search for Cherubuscia fish heads, and again they work brilliantly. You can carry them in your box and just attach them to whatever flies you like. Again, another really good option. And then if you want to go down the say professional way, or you want to go down a slightly different route, like Texas and Carolina rigs, indeed there's a one I've rigged up as a Texas rig. I put them on obviously on a leader, as you do, and you can just tie your main line to that. Another thing you could do with these, and indeed I actually have some wire traces, and they're already rigged with Texas rigs like this. What I do here is I just attach a small link there. Fast Tack's my go-to because they're quite good for changing over, but whatever one you like, you know. And again, that's a great one, you know. That's a really, really good one to use. The old Texas rig. Okay, so then we go on to another little favourite of mine. If this one's made of wire, it's 11 pound Surflon Micron Ultra. Just make up a trace, and just at the end of the trace I've just squeezed on a shot on a Fast Tack, like so. And again, you can change that. You can just squeeze it very, very gently on, and it will move up and down, or you can just clamp it onto there, whatever takes your fancy. But that's a great one if you're fishing waters with piking. Obviously you're going to need to have some kind of wire. And there you go. So hopefully that clears all the confusion up about using flies. Any questions, obviously just leave a comment down below, and feel free to like, subscribe and share. Thanks for watching.